All right, my good people. So on this dull, rainy morning, this matches that dull, rainy, stormy snooze fest of a Raw we had last night. Listen, I don't care to break the whole thing down, to be honest with you. Here's what I will say. Man, I am so tired of seeing CM Punk and Seth Rollins in the same ring. I don't care about bringing Braun Breaker into the mix. Like, I'm just tired of them, period, man. God damn. I mean, this has been forever, man, that somehow these guys are connected. It shows me, too, they don't really have any faith in their younger talent. They really don't. And they really don't know how to put matches together that people care about. See, all that wrestling is all about moments, and spots. No, that's what the WWE is about. And shame on all of you that sit here and adapt that stupid bullshit mentality, because all you're doing is limiting. You're limiting, okay? You're restricting companies from being different and being accepted as, hey, this is just different. It's simple. You call football soccer. You call soccer football. You call the NFL football. You can't say, like I used to hear people say, oh, the NFL. It usually be like West Indians and like Latinos saying, oh, that's not real football. That real football is soccer. Because you use your leg. Well, you use your legs in football as well. How the fuck you gonna say one is fake and the other is real? No, they're both football. Okay? They're both football. It's like taking two Italian dishes and then saying, oh, this is a fake Italian dish because it's not made the same way. Well, it's a different ingredient. You can call it fake. That's not real football. No, bullshit. And this is why, like I keep telling you, all of these guys are slaves to the machine. All of these people that talk like that and then accept that. You're just a slave to the machine. So when you hear, okay, if you didn't hear it or see it, I'll post the thumbnail for you. And I'll, like with Eric Bischoff saying he's done with WWE style of wrestling. Yeah, because you work for MLW and it's a different company, and you know what's going to happen. You know people that are already criticizing MLW. They're going to see your face and all the shit you talk about AEW and all the shit that you talk like, as if you know what to do for professional wrestling as a whole to just blossom. They're going to look at you like, well, damn, Eric, you over here MLW. AEW still kicking y'all ass in comparison to anything y'all are doing. So what's your excuse? You know what I mean? So yeah, he's done with that. Yeah, of course you are. Of course you are. If you were in the WWE, you'd still be doing that same bullshit that they do. So if what the WWE does is so effective for wrestling as a whole, why would you not go with what they're doing? Why would you choose to do something different? You see the hypocrisy? This is what I don't respect about people. And like I said, man, I was when the NWO and everything Eric Bischoff was doing over there in WCW, I was all for that. Even before that, just WCW, the way, the wrestlers they had, the shows and everything. But at some point, you got to, like I said, I'm never going to make excuses for people. Eric Bischoff is a freaking opportunist, man. Real simple. He'll talk shit about a company, and if they're dumb enough to hire him, he'll go work for them like he never said anything bad about them. Somehow, because his face shows up, the product is better. No, bullshit. I mean, you see what happened with WCW. You see what happened when you and Hogan went over to TNA. Now you're in MLW. So, you know what I mean? At some point, really. So, anyways, look. Yeah, I'm just tired of Punk and Rollins in the same ring. I mean, even just looking at Paul Heyman with Rollins and Braun, just, man, this just has no type of like impact. There's nothing about this trio. Nothing. There's nothing about it that's intriguing. It's I don't even know why the hell they're together, man. Even the way it all happened, everything is just ugly. It's not attractive. Penta versus Chad Gable once again. Okay. The only good thing that came out of this is that Penta finally, he won. But then again, there's Chad once again losing. They just put these matches together to me all wrong in terms of like just when you have to keep burying a person, yet you're trying to build them. Usually they do that with silly characters. Or someone who they have plans for. They're getting attention to them, and this person is eventually going to turn heel and whatever, whatever. They become a fan favorite. Then they'll, that'll change. But they usually do that with silly characters. Penta got the win. Nothing special about the freaking match, man. It was just another match. I've seen Penta do way better, and I know that this is not Penta being used to his full potential by far. But hey, it is what it is. He accepts his role, so hey. The Creed brothers versus these big Viking Raiders or whatever they call themselves, man. I really don't understand, like, the booking. I don't understand the cuts they made, like who they let go versus. And let me tell you something, right? Well, let me say this first, then I'll get to that. The Creed brothers just don't get a reaction, man. They, like, the fans just are not into them at all. Not the Creed brothers. These Viking Raider guys or whatever, they lose. Okay, New Day is sitting outside. Once again, there's no serious tag teams, and the WWE. All of them are a bunch of goofballs. There's no serious tag teams. There's no tag team that you even give a fuck about. Like, I want to see them with the titles. The most that people might want to see is the New Day lose, just for being assholes. Other than that, what tag team do you really care about? There's none. Nobody stands out. None of these guys stand out. There's no hot kick-ass tag team. Nobody. It's really just terrible just to see where they are. But because they got people that's tuning in, hey, somebody like it, right? They don't feel the need to change anything that they're doing. Snooze fest. The whole show is just, man. Jey Uso comes out through the crowd. Oh my goodness, man. He takes forever with all this yeet, hoo, blah, blah, yabba dabba doo. All this shit, man, and he's going back and forth with Gunter. And, just a long promo for nothing. He comes out and says what he says. You know what? Let me just throw this in here really quick. In my last video, and I was talking about Backlash, right? Or did I upload that one? I think I did. Anyways, I couldn't remember because it was 5 matches. I completely forgot about Pat McAfee and this Gunther guy, because that's how irrelevant and unimportant. Backlash was so terrible that I literally had to watch it twice, like 2.5 times, because I'm doing stuff and I'm like, man, this show was awful. And listen, can anybody explain? This is really rhetorical, but just a rhetorical question. Can anybody really explain why this dude attacked Pat McAfee in the first place? Threatened to beat the hell out of him. Then all of a sudden, he goes in there, and of course, Pat McAfee doesn't know what the hell he's doing. You seen him try to come over that top rope? I mean, simple stuff, right? The little things. Okay. And he goes in there and he beats him up or whatever. He plays with him. He doesn't go in there and punish him like he said he was going to do. But he goes in there and shows a sign of respect after winning, because Pat McAfee, I guess because he tried the best he could or whatever. It's like, I don't understand these sympathetic heels. I don't understand these faces that have heel tendencies. I just don't understand how, like, look, let me tell you guys something. And I don't care if it's AEW, WWE, whoever. When you are a team or a wrestler that fights anybody, you can't have 10 wrestlers like that. 5, not even 5, okay? It's you have that one wrestler that I'll fight, face, heel, it doesn't matter. You got that one tag team that I'll fight, face, heel, it doesn't matter. Man, the heel and face personas are like dying. It doesn't even matter anymore. And that is another takeaway from wrestling. Whenever the face comes out and they're getting booed and the heels are getting cheered and the heels are embracing their cheers. Like, what the fuck is Jacob Fatu? He's a fucking heel and the crowd is Fatu. And like, oh, what the fuck are y'all doing? And then now, when you're trying to get the face over, but he's getting booed. That was one of the concerns that people had about Dominic Mysterio versus Penta. Like, come on, man, these people are cheering fucking Dominic. They might boo Penta now because of, like, in that particular match. You know, they started booing Bianca Belair for no fucking reason. I mean, goddamn. Like I said, initially I could understand the fact that most of us thought Bianca was going to be a part of that storyline, and probably WWE got word of things and they changed it, which is cool. But why are they still booing Bianca Belair? Just saying, y'all. Right? So the heels are supposed to, I don't need any fucking cheers for you morons. This piece of shit town. You understand what I'm saying? They do. What the fuck are you doing? Do you guys realize in wrestling today, the heels get cheered just as much as the fucking good guy? So we just play heel and face with certain wrestlers when we want to. What the fuck is going on? No more heels versus faces. What the hell is this shit? I'm really like, wow, man, wow. If you're gonna go to the old school and do some shit like pretend we don't know that that's Chad Gable behind that mask, well then you could think about what really works as a whole. Like, we didn't know that was Hogan behind the mask. We didn't know that Dusty Rhodes was the Midnight Rider. Yeah, okay. Just saying, guys. Look, if you're going to do a professional wrestling show, right? Sports entertainment, whatever the hell you want to call it, I don't care. Make the shit make sense. Man, this show was so bad last night, man. I'm like, wow, this is like next level bad. Like, seriously. And I'm watching the main event. Nothing special about that match either. And you know what my son said again? He's watching Rhea Ripley and said, why is she struggling to beat these little ass women? I'm like, okay. Here's a teenager asking that question. Yet you grown ass people who sit there and make excuses for it. Like, y'all don't understand that, man. You know, this isn't. I feel like it's a rebelliousness against people that are just bigger. Like, let's make a stupid ass excuse for the underdog, for the smaller person, and let's make this real. Like in professional wrestling. Now, in boxing, you got weight classes. UFC, you got weight classes, right? MMA, Muay Thai, all of that stuff, right? Somehow in professional wrestling, weight doesn't matter. Size doesn't matter. That's why Omos sucked. You guys know why. This is why Omos sucked, because Omos, as big as he is to these much smaller guys, he wasn't that good either. Let me add that. Omos really wasn't that talented. He was just a big dude. I think they feel like his look would be menacing, but the way Omos was booked, he didn't have any aura of invincibility. He was just a big dude. That's all. You didn't look at him the same way you saw the Big Show or Andre the Giant or a Big John Studd for that matter, or Van Vader. You didn't see Omos like that. All he did was come out looking angry, yelling, raising his arms up in the air, but he wasn't a good wrestler. But even in him not being a good wrestler, bottom line is, they don't know how to hide the flaws of a wrestler. I don't know how these matches are rehearsed and all or whatever, but his matches sucked. And he just, it's not a good idea. Satnam Singh is still employed by AEW, but he's mostly in Ring of Honor right now. And the way I watched like the last 2 or 3 matches with him, and I'm like, see, they got his matches booked to where his pace is slower, but at the same time, his size and his strength makes a difference against his opponents. And I mean, is he look, Satnam Singh isn't the most polished either, but this is my point. That's why you don't go stick Satnam Singh in the main event. That's why you don't go stick Omos in the main event and then blame them when they can't deliver. When you know that, they're still green. But what I'm saying is, like, what's the purpose of having these big dudes? What's the purpose of having somebody come to the ring? Oh, he's a powerhouse. This guy isn't human. And then they're in there struggling with little scrawny guys that look like golfers or talk show hosts. Man, I swear, it just doesn't add up. And I don't care about all you CM Punk retards, man. I'm so sick of his little weird haircut and him always in a pissed off mood, bitching about a bunch of nothing. All of his fucking promos sound the same. He's saying the same shit about different people every fucking time. And it's just not entertaining. Nothing that's coming out of his mouth do I care about. I'm just sitting there watching this shit. And it was like, wow. This is what it's come to. And even my son said, man, WWE has changed, man. Man, I used to watch John Cena and Randy Orton when I was a kid. I remember just the wrestlers then was like, what happened? They like AEW though. Just saying. And they don't even watch wrestling, but they watch AEW. Just saying. They used to play the TNA wrestling game I had for the Xbox 360. We still got that shit. So, I mean, they bottom line is this, right? Some people just mature and outgrow things, where others will go to their grave with all white hair and still support childish psychology. Okay, if you like it, you like it. I'm not here to tell you shouldn't. But I am telling you that shit I watched last night was 2.5 hours of trash. All the goddamn ads and commercials, man. All of this fucking... Oh, boy. Wow. It honestly, last night, anytime I watch any of this stuff, I never take it personal. Last night was the first time, like, I'm talking like I really felt like, you know how when you feel this, like you watch something and get that nauseating feeling like, what? Wow. Because I sat there to watch the show. And I just didn't even enjoy it. I love Rhea Ripley. I like Io Sky. Always loved Julia way before most of you even knew who the fuck she was. Way before she came to WWE. Roxanne Perez is eye candy. I mean, I don't know, man. She's so goddamn tiny, man. I swear, I'm just sitting here watching this shit, and I'm just like, I guess in this era, Hornswoggle could come back and, like, you know, beat John Cena. Why not? Why not? I mean, goddamn, why not? Shit. I'm just saying, like, seriously. I'm watching this show last night, and it just was nauseating. And I'm not saying it to, like, just to say it. Like, it was really a nausea, like, what the And the part of that nausea is because I'm like, okay, I want to watch the show, but at the same time, I'm not enjoying the show, and I'm just feeling like it's not going to change. And I watched them last night, and honestly, while Rhea Ripley and them were in the wrestling, I remember I got up and I started doing some other shit. That happens often anyway. But I started doing some other shit, and I just sat there and I looked at the TV while I'm standing up. I know Rhea and Io won. I don't remember what the fuck happened. I just remember they won. At one point, Rhea, with the way she grabbed her hand and raised her hand, I don't know, man. I don't see the purpose of a Rhea Ripley heel turn. I don't. That is just not necessary. And she's pretty much Rhea Ripley is probably the hottest wrestler in WWE. She's probably John Cena, the attention and the focus is on him because everybody knows he's retiring. Okay, but I mean, like, in terms of the ovation sheet, I don't think there's nobody and of course that can vary from town to town because certain people might be, whatever. But I feel like on a consistent night-to-night basis, there's nobody in the WWE that gets a louder applause than Rhea Ripley. And to be perfectly honest with you, man, that match last night also was just, it was just another match. That was it. And yeah, Becky Lynch comes out and complains and yells and screams for a while and leaves the ring pissed off and everything. I honestly just don't understand how. Like, if Triple H, the people that came from an era where you had to wrestle, you had to know how to wrestle. Like, bottom line is, the storyline, like, just different things were far more potent than they are now. And to, like, cater to this generation instead of saying, no, let me show y'all how we really do it here in WWE. No, it's like these wrestlers, man, are like little kids. The storylines are like stupid. Triple H said the story don't have to make sense. I mean, don't get me wrong, there was always shit that I didn't like about every era. Mr. McMahon, kiss my ass club. Man, no, you'd have to fire my black ass. I'd be damn, I'm going to fucking pucker up. I don't give a fuck if it was one of the finest females there. It's the principle. I'm going to get on my fucking knees and kiss somebody's ass to keep my... Nah, I'm not. Nah, hell no. Nah. Fuck no. Fuck no. And then when you decide to throw me in the garbage because you don't need me no more, now I go to WCW or somewhere else. Everybody saw you get on your knees and kiss Vince McMahon. Oh, fuck no. I'd have probably slapped his, either, and I say probably because I'm deciding whether I'd have kicked him, punched him, or I'd have, one or the other. I just for even pitch that idea to me, that I get on my knees and kiss your ass. Fuck out of here. No. There was a whole lot of stories that I didn't like about the WWE. A whole lot of shit. It was never a time where I just loved everything they did. But I'm telling you, there was a time where at least I could enjoy the show. I could watch a show and feel like, okay, but it was always goofy shit they did. Every single era. And if you're too young to remember, then shut the fuck up. Because you wasn't there. But there was always some shit. And when you want to talk about old corny 80s stuff that they was doing or whatever, yeah, they did a lot of corny shit as long as I can remember. And they doing even more corny shit now. So even the whole little, we know that Chad Gable's supposed to have that little metal plate in his mask. So a quick little headbutt. Well, and he goes down. Oh, that's because he got the metal plate. Yeah, right. Yeah, like Junkyard Dog crawling all fours, headbutting people. What? Bottom line, they find the corniest shit to implement into their programs now, and they don't even wrestle now. The rest, it's not. It's like they're not even focused on putting on a solid wrestling match. It's just like, let's just flop around, do some moves, have some spots, like I said, in some moments. That's it. That's all they care about. So, yeah, I'm just like, I'm really just sitting there last night like, wow, man. Just to know that people are going, wow, this was great. And you want to know what is so weird to me? Is when I literally hear people say, yeah, I admit AEW has great wrestling, but who cares? So what? Like, what the fuck did you... Okay, this is why I don't care to hear what none of these people have to say. Because you're admitting that they're doing what they're supposed to do. Wrestle. And because they don't have these childish fucking, really like super long fucking 30-minute promos that just talking, ranting. They all sound manic depressive. They all sound like they got fucking mental health issues. Like what the fuck is that? But that's what you tune in for. Once again, just like I said, and I'm going to keep saying it till people catch on. It's like going to a fucking restaurant saying, I don't go to the fucking restaurant for the food. I only go there for the menu. Really? So you penalize a company for having great wrestling? And because their storylines are not based on some fucking 8-year-old logic, you have a problem with it. Okay, cool. Then just don't watch AEW. How about that? And the reason is because you separate what they're doing as wrestling from sports entertainment, as if AEW's wrong for not copying what the WWE is doing. Well, take a look. MLW's not doing what they're doing. TNA is doing what they're doing, and they're still in the same shithole spot that they've been in for the longest. They've lost themselves trying to cater to the WWE and trying to mimic them. And any other company that have their own direction, and you don't respect that because the WWE is doing things their way, yet you're bitching about everything that WWE is doing. So if you're not happy about their product, what the fuck are you happy about? What wrestling show can you actually watch and enjoy? That's why WWE fans say, oh my God, they're ruining wrestling. No, they're ruining the WWE. They're not ruining AEW. You're ruining yourself because you take this shit way too serious. But two, you don't even respect professional wrestling. You fucking accept and you endorse this whole sports entertainment bullshit. That's the issue. You want them to change, but you don't want to change. You don't want to understand, you know what? I don't have to watch this shit, but I do. And in me watching it, they clearly have said, we are not a wrestling company. We are sports entertainment. So the focus is more on what they see as entertainment. You yourselves are saying, I watch WWE for the entertainment. Well, damn, if you're not entertained by the fucking match, why are you watching? And then you're hypocritical because you sit there and say, well, this actually was a good match. And this. Okay, then. So what the fuck are you complaining about? If you're not there for the wrestling but say, this was actually a good match, then then you're coming and going. You don't even know what you want, and you're just complaining about nothing. I just feel like, man, I'm sitting there. I watched MLW's last show, the latest show, and, you know, this one just really was like it was a very boring show. I didn't like the lighting. The building was so fucking dark, man, and it just had a very boring pace. One of their top wrestlers, I forget the guy's name, little skinny black dude, low haircut, I forget his damn name. He disappeared. He was gone for 2 years. He came back and he got in the ring. He hit the roll, jumped up, caught this guy with the diamond cutter, and got damn near, like, really almost, I swear, like almost zero reaction. Like hardly nobody reacted to the move. He jumps up, you're looking at the crowd, and you think they see his face and remember him. Oh, that's, you know. Then he spoke and got like zero reaction. He literally got like zero reaction, and I just was like, wow. Okay, let me also say this. The crowd that AEW has don't want sports entertainment. They don't want to see guys come in the ring, 3 segments of people coming in the ring for fucking 25 to 30 minutes just talking about nothing. What is this promo leading to, right? MLW's crowd, they don't want to see you mimic what the WWE is doing. That's why the second you get away from what made the fans follow you and you start doing this other shit, and all of a sudden the fans are not as explosive, they're not as, you know, that's because you're losing what attracted them to you. So that's why you guys don't understand how you're more detrimental than you are a help in terms of wrestling as a whole. Because when people talk about the number one leader in sports entertainment, no, you're not the number one wrestling company. You can say that all you want. We know who the bigger company is. Yeah, nobody gives a fuck about that. That's just a deflection. We don't give a fuck. You know, like I said, UFC is a bigger company than one fighting championships, right? But I by far enjoy one fighting championships more than I do watching the UFC. By far. The PFL is not as big as the UFC, but when I'm watching the PFL, I enjoy them just as much, if not more, than the UFC. So just because the UFC is the bigger company doesn't mean that it's better. So all these promo packages and all this shit that they do, look like certain, all this shit, like they keep doing these little promos, little brief promos about Rusev. Who gives a fuck? He comes back and you got him beefing with Otis? So if you're going to build Rusev up to the point where Rusev is going to be champion or some kind of champion, there's going to be some respect on his name, okay, cool. Otherwise, if you're doing this shit just to have him in there fighting these jobbing ass wrestlers, like, and Otis could have been something different, honestly. Otis at one point had the fans behind him and they decided to make him a goofball. And remember, he had a partner at one point. So, I mean, it's really sad, man, that you guys don't want to admit or see that the WWE don't give a fuck about its fans. They care about its fans' money. They care about the people paying to keep them rich. That's all. This is why they're doing this shit and telling you guys to fuck off. They don't give a fuck, man. It's all about, we're going to do what we want to do and make our money, and they're going to complain, but they're going to watch anyway. And fuck it. We are going to do what we're going to do. You guys forget how, you know, Bryan Danielson, I was watching him over there in the independent circuit. I was watching him in Ring of Honor. And he was always a wrestler. He was always a very solid wrestler. And he came to the WWE. They gave him a gimmick. Oh, yes, which they stole that. Don't fire Eric. Don't fire. That's where they stole that shit from, honestly. But bottom line, they started the yes shit and all of that. They teamed up with Kane. And they had this odd couple of strange bedfellows type tag team. And y'all might have loved it. I thought this shit was completely goofy. I just really didn't even care about the dumb shit. It really was But bottom line is, you know, Bryan Danielson want to wrestle more than all that sports entertainment bullshit. And I can remember how the fans was pretty much voicing their opinions about Daniel Bryan. They wanted Bryan Danielson to be champion so bad that other wrestlers would be in there wrestling and they would be in there just saying, Daniel Bryan, they didn't care about who they wanted to send a direct message. Now you guys are so soft, you just accept whatever they give you. But then you got the nerve to admit AEW put on great wrestling matches, but because, like I said, they don't have this cartoonish type style of promos and storytelling that, like I said, they do the funny stuff with certain people. But, once again, the WWE does things, I feel like little kids right there. It's like they go to like a little elementary school or something. Hey, we want you to write a script for our next Raw and SmackDown. The fact that this is grown-ups. And once again, for Triple H to tell you guys, the stories don't have to make sense. Okay? But you don't understand when we tell you it doesn't make sense. It's stupid shit. Somehow you just don't see it. You don't understand why. What's the problem? The problem is we're not fucking kids anymore. So, yeah, like I said, there's just so many of us that have outgrown this shit. But hey, man, like I said, when these people open their mouth and try to criticize anything about AEW, you guys don't fucking say, damn, all y'all do is make AEW videos. You keep, here's my thing, you love WWE so much, why you don't make WWE videos? Talking about how fun their show was. Instead, you keep making AEW hate videos. So, what does that tell you? But then when somebody defend the logic and the reason and the truth and stick up for the shit that you guys purposely overlook, then it's like, damn, they got a point. Yeah, you know what? That's true. But you know what? We don't care. We're retarded. We just want to do stupid shit anyway. And that's pretty much the way that goes. Let's just be honest, y'all. If you can say you actually enjoyed that show last night, then whatever, man. That shit was like, I'm like, wow, what is this shit? And that's why I challenge any one of you, go back and look at AEW and look at Penta's matches, and you tell me you won't come to that conclusion. Nah, they fucked Penta up. Yeah, Penta was a bad motherfucker. Ray Phoenix, another one. Ray Phoenix, another one. You brought them in. I told you, they don't give luchas love like that, man. Luchadors is not seen as World Heavyweight Championship material. They use the luchas to keep the Latino community invested. That's all they do. That's all they use the luchas for. Just like when you guys notice that whenever they get wrestlers from different companies, like different cultures, right? They always want them to do something that is like symbolic of their people. You understand what I'm saying? Why is it, same thing, when they get black dudes, why are the black dudes always here? You know what I'm saying? It's your man, such as yo, I'm about to go in there, yo, we about to, all street and all the damn slang lingo and all that, right? I'm just saying, why is it always that? Why is it always that? That's because they want you to be in front of that camera and people that can relate to you. That's how they feel. They can see you can relate to your people. This person can do this and do that. So you got that wrestler that can relate to the nerds. The nerds can relate to him. The big fat person that people told wouldn't make it, but that motherfucker's fat and can do a moonsault off the top rope or some shit. It's always something, and I get all of that to a certain degree. But man, if you go on that bitch and can't wrestle, you're going to tell John Cena he can't wrestle, goddamn, but yet y'all putting on shitty matches overall with guys that can wrestle. So does it really matter? Even when John Cena was at his peak, he was never a good wrestler. He had a handful of moves, and and that's the difference. See, I don't like that shit. You guys do, but I don't. I never liked when somebody, okay, let me tell you like this, right? When you see something a certain way, and you realize that's what they do. But then, like, example, I was watching The Ultimate Warrior and Sting as a kid when they were the Blade Runners. I always liked Sting more, but his name at the time was Flash, and Blade and Ultimate Warrior was Rock. And as their careers went on, they separated. I was watching them in the UWF, WCCW, all that, right? But when they wind up separating and Sting came to WCW, Warrior went to WWE, right? I could see like Sting I'm like, yo, this dude got way better. Like you could see it, like him he got way better. Warrior, not so much. But character-wise, he was more exciting than he ever was. Bell to bell, no. Sting would wrestle circles around Warrior. Warrior, when I would watch him, I liked this character and everything, and that's what wrestlers felt like back in the day, real life superheroes. You know, Sting reminded me of Booster Gold. You understand what I'm saying? You know, but bottom line, I'm watching them, right? Now, Sting's matches, this is what I like way better about NWA and WCW. AEW, whatever. The WWE was the only fucking company that had characters that had a set of moves that I'm going to beat you with this move and this set every time. Like Hogan, right? Getting hit. I would watch motherfuckers would literally, they'd be like a southpaw, but they'd switch in that left-handed position that just for a sec, so they could throw the punch and Hogan block it, punch, and then, you know, 3 punches, you know, right? Throw him to the rope, leg drop, bounce off the rope. Big boot, bounce off the rope, leg drop, 3 count. John Cena with the whole you can't see me shit, whatever. You know, The Rock with the people's elbow. Then he gonna set you up with the, you know, with the choke, the rock bottom. I never liked that shit, man. I never liked the fact that it was like, because it's like you already know what they're gonna beat you with. Why do you keep falling for it? Why do you already know what they're going to beat you with? Now, meanwhile, I'm watching Warrior, and Warrior will go through his hulking up. Now, I ain't had no problem with the hulk up shit and impervious to pain. That's cool. I love that kind of shit. But what I'm saying is when he would do it, you know the shoulder blocks are coming. And like, but then after the shoulder block, he's going to go to the press slam. Okay, cool. All right. Warrior was a bit different though, because there's times he go for the shoulder block, they might move out the way or something. You know, nobody made Hogan miss the big boot. They wasn't going to miss the leg drop. Warrior was the one to do it. But I'm watching Sting, and it's like same thing. Sting ain't have no setup. Like, he go for the Sting and splash, then the Scorpion Deathlock is coming after that. But what I'm saying is, Sting did not have the same match with you. Him and Flair pretty much had mostly the same match when they fought, but bottom line is, what I'm saying, it wasn't about, I'm going to have 5 or 6 different ways to come back and 5 or 6 different moves I'm going to use back to back to come back and beat you. So you know what's coming. So when Hogan would do that shit, you knew he was going to punch you 3 times, throw you to, you knew what was happening. Why nobody never reversed that shit and it was able to, like, you know, counter Hogan? Like, it was just like, so my point with y'all, WWF or WWE, there's never been a time where it was matches that they had and things they did that I didn't feel like was incredibly stupid. And I was just like, man. So I never really, like, I would watch other wrestling companies have way better wrestling matches. And I'm like, man, like, WWE had the bigger characters. They had the brighter lights, the better production. But they were the best wrestling, man. And they never were. That's the whole thing that always got me. Like, how the fuck they just kept that shit going? But they were far more interesting back in the day than they are now. This shit now is, like, unacceptable. It's really, like, trash. And I'm like, wow, what, like, and because we watch wrestling, that's why we continue to watch. But I'm not going to act like this shit is, you know, I could sit here and just tell you what happened without rating it at all. But this shit is garbage, man. This is pure hot garbage. I don't understand what the hell was going on, what they were thinking. But if you have a problem with professional wrestling, putting on professional wrestling matches, it's not the company. Something's wrong with you. If you got a problem because every other company don't want to go into the sports entertainment, you know, and it's something wrong with you. You need to understand every company's different. I don't have a problem with them being sports entertainment. It's just the product that they're giving us is stale as hell. And it's not entertaining at all. And for everybody else that feel the same exact way, we got the right to speak our minds. And in the same way, you got the right to like this garbage. But at the same time, you need to stop criticizing AEW and any other company just for the simple fact that AEW is on fire right now. They're doing their thing. And WWE is giving us garbage. And the fact is, you'll make every excuse to try to defend them. But that same company is showing you they don't care about you. $30,000, $40,000 tickets to go to SummerSlam. You must be out your fucking mind. They're trying to hog up all these spaces. Why do you think that all this pay-per-view, all this then main event, said that they're trying to do everything they can to try to block AEW? But that shit is not going to work. That shit's not going to work. AEW fans are going to watch AEW. WWE fans don't watch AEW, and the ones that do, they only watch to criticize, or they watch and they enjoy it, but they know that it's more attention as a creator, YouTube, like somebody that has a content creator. They feel like it's more, they'll get more attention, bashing it, which is stupid, But at the same time, that's what they do. That's what they do. So yeah, they're not gonna harm AEW. They can do what the fuck they want to do. They keep putting all these bullshit. And here's the thing. With that quick amount of time to put these shows together, you're not thinking these shows out. You're just being greedy, and you're just lining your pockets with your sheep's money, because that's what they are, sheep. They don't even know how to judge a good product anymore. Anyway, I really last night saw this shit and just said, wow. And I'm reluctant to even watch NXT tonight, to be honest with you. I'll see how it goes. But anyways, Raw last night was atrocious, man. This was terrible. This was terrible. WWE, y'all got to do better. That's all I got for y'all right now. I'll catch you guys on the next video.